Hi everyone, and welcome to the Creative Healers interview series. I'm Alison Palmer. I'm your host for the entire series, and today I'm excited because we are speaking with Louise Gale. Louise is a British mixed media artist, get that straight, with a love for nature and mandala making. Her intention is to inspire and help creative souls of all ages tap into their own creative healing journey. Her art studio is located in Spain. It overlooks the sea with a view of Gibraltar, of the Gibraltar Rock, and there's tiny fishing boats and the Moroccan coastline in the distance. We're not at all jealous, are we? So when she's not in her studio creating or hosting online classes or working with other creative people, you can find her on the beach collecting inspiration and putting her bare feet into the sand. How idyllic. And today what we're going to be talking about is botanical mandalas, combining the healing energy of nature with the meditative process of mandala creating. So welcome, Louise.
Oh, thank you so much, Alison, for inviting me along. I'm very excited to be talking to you. Thank you.
Yeah, well, this is just thrilling. You know, I'm so excited. Because I'm excited because you've created this amazing life for yourself. But also because, you know, you're combining nature with the creative process as well. So I can't wait to dive in. And that would be a great place for us to start, really. If you could tell us about what you see to be that healing connection with the natural world and how it's become important to you.
Okay. Well, I think with everything that's going on at the moment, with our busy lives, you know, getting more connected with technology, I think we need to be more connected with nature more and more. I'm a true believer in thinking that, you know, nature is our medicine, nature is our healer, and that we actually do need to spend time in nature every day to feel reconnected to ourselves and the world around us as well. And you know, there are lots of proven healing benefits to being in nature as well, and especially being barefoot, which is why I love being barefoot. And I try to be barefoot every day if I can. At the moment, it's a little bit chilly in the morning, but you know, when you put your bare feet into the earth, whether it be grass or the earth itself or the sand, you reconnect with the vibration of the earth. So you're picking up, you know, that kind of resonance that the earth vibrates at, and it brings you back into balance. So, you know, I guess when you think about when you take walks in nature or you're breathing the fresh air and just being outside, really, how much better you do feel. You may not know why you feel better, but I think, you know, everyone can probably, you know, agree that it's a place that they love to be, and everyone, you know, feels different. It could be at the beach, in the countryside, you know, climbing a mountain, but you know, it's all very beneficial.
Yeah, and being outside, I mean, I'm in Paris at the moment, and so, you know, surrounded by concrete jungle, in fact, and you know, I can go outside and I feel better for being outside, but it's not the same, is it? It's not the same as that real connection, that real vibration, like you say, that comes out of the trees, it comes up from the earth, and kind of in the concrete jungle, you feel like it's trying to push through the asphalt and things like that. You see a little weed and you think, yay for you. So yeah, I totally love it. It is so healing. And so talk us through mandalas, how you came upon, you know, working with this as something that's important for you. What is the value of working with mandalas, and then how does it connect into the nature bit?
Oh my goodness, there's lots and lots. I mean, drawing and creating mandalas is a very ancient process and goes back thousands and thousands of years. And I think, you know, primarily it's been used as a way of meditating. And you know, for anybody who's watching this or listening to this at the moment, who's actually tried to create a mandala or has created a mandala, will understand kind of like the meditative process that you kind of go through. And I think it's such a relaxing process and a relaxing practice that, when I moved to Spain 5 years ago. And when I first moved here, I moved actually from New York City. So I was in kind of like the concrete jungle before I moved here. And I craved this life by the sea. And when I first moved here, I didn't have any art materials. I didn't have my art studio set up. So I would actually take walks down the beach and I'd pick up natural objects and I'd just sit. And I actually found myself, as the days went on, I found myself just naturally, gathering these objects and just creating these kind of circular designs, which essentially is a mandala. So, what I was doing is combining, I guess, what I knew as the meditative process of drawing a mandala, but using nature to actually create these designs. And I would just leave them on the beach for other people to find. So it kind of, it was actually a very interesting process because, there's a kind of letting go aspect that comes with it as well, because you kind of make this amazing design and think, I really want to take that away and keep it, but I left it for other people. And then eventually, the sea would come in and take it away and people would find it. But
that's so exciting. Can we just pause a minute to explore that? Because it seems like it's pregnant with symbolism for our journeys, and it seems like there's embodied in that process of creating and letting go, and then even allowing that it's destroyed, that's really relevant for us in our healing. So, what do you think about that? What are your thoughts on it, I guess?
I think absolutely for our healing, but I think also for anybody just going through a creative process as well. I think, being an artist or, maybe there's people out there who are looking to become more creative, but there's some kind of block at the moment. And I think the thing is that when we're creating something, we're so fixed on the end result. We're so fixed on what it's going to look like, what's going to happen in the future and what people are going to say about it, what people are going to think about it. I think what's amazing about mandala creating, but also, using that natural process as well, is that you're not really thinking about the end result so much. It's really more about the process itself and how you're feeling while you're creating or going through that process. And I think, with healing, it is a journey as well. So I think there's a lot of resonance between the two. And I think we haven't talked about this yet, but one of the reasons that I moved to Spain, but also one of the reasons that I work so closely with nature, is I'm a little bit electric sensitive. So I find it really hard to be on the computer for too long. I've only just got a mobile phone for emergency reasons, but I don't really use mobile devices. I don't use Wi-Fi or anything like that. So, for me, using nature as a tool has been a huge healing process for myself. And I think it's just, everyone finds their journey, don't they, in each of these different processes they're looking at.
Yeah,
creative process as well to help me go through that.
Yes. And so I love that focus upon the actual process of that you're going through, like an internal process when you're externally moving things around and creating. And I'm in my mind, okay, these mandalas are all different sizes on the beach. So you're physically moving, you're not just sitting down and making something small. Would I be right in that?
Absolutely. And at the time, I have bare feet, and I've got my knees in the sand, and actually we have a local park here as well. So sometimes, I'd walk along to the local park and I'd find, pieces of wood and stones and all sorts of, it's so interesting here, especially around this time of year, because we get a lot of storms. So, there's things that come down the rivers. So there's bamboo, there's like feathers and all sorts of really, really bizarre looking objects that I've not seen before. So it can be really interesting. Taking a walk on the beach, and it's kind of like, it's not just shells and stones and things. It can be real, objects that have had their own kind of journey down a river from a mountain, perhaps, and and it's just like looking at them and feeling them, and moving around in the sand on the beach, and creating with them. But I haven't made anything really, really huge before. I've only done, I guess, things about this kind of size.
Oh, okay.
But no, I'd love to try something really huge mandala and get some people involved. That would be fun.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's interesting. That's a really interesting idea of getting other people involved. So it's a community mandala.
Yeah.
Just talk us through that a little bit, what you think. I mean, that seems to me to be, again, full of possibilities for healing, but in a different sort of way, if you're going through this process with other people.
I think it's actually a really wonderful thing to do if you are already in a community or in a group of people. Perhaps you're going through a healing process with other people. I think it is a really lovely creative practice to take part in, because it builds, it builds that connection with each other, but also with whatever it is you're connecting, and then what you're building. And then once you've built it and created it, you're leaving it somewhere for other people to find and enjoy as well. And I found mandalas on the beach before myself when I've been traveling other places, and it's just it's so wonderful, because it actually makes you think about, who's the person that created this, and what were they going through, and why did they do it, and isn't it beautiful? And then, they've left it for you to then get something out of it as well. So yeah, there's so many possibilities. And I think just in that, it's a healing process, just going through the thought pattern, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And I particularly love the idea that you leave it and then nature smashes it up over time. I think that's just amazing. It really teaches us about the impermanence of everything.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, beautiful.
Wabi-sabi. I learned that about, I think, 6 months ago. I'd never heard that term before. Wabi-sabi. Yeah.
What is wabi-sabi? I don't know.
Wabi-sabi is exactly that. It's being more present in nature, and it's really understanding the impermanence of the natural world and the world around us as well. That things do change and things decay, and everything's in a cycle. Whether you think about birth and death that way, or you think about the seasons as well. So yeah, it's a very interesting term, actually.
To me, that's really relevant, because a lot of the women on this series are probably in a position where they want change in their life, but change feels incredibly scary. I know for myself, I used to really hate the idea of change, and I just used to try to contain my life so that there'll be minimal change. And I'm kind of the opposite now, in that I actually actively seek change because I like it, and I've come to accept that it's the natural state of being. But it sounds like the mandala work could really help people to negotiate that relationship with change.
Yeah, I think I think it's like, I used to be exactly the same as well. I used to think, I don't want things to change. I want things to be the way they are. But it's life, isn't it? Things do change, and I remember I've moved countries a couple of times, and I wouldn't say it gets easier to deal with change, but I think it's important to feel that, you become stronger, and that you kind of anticipate that there's going to be things that are kind of thrown at you, and it's just about knowing that it's all going to be okay. And and if you're following your heart, I think that's really important. I've always followed my intuition and listened to the universe and followed my heart. So, I kind of feel like if we're true to ourselves, no matter what's being thrown at us, and no matter what change we're going through, it feels that we'll find the place that we need to be, or where we're meant to be. And I think with mandala work, just going back to your question, mandala work, it's every mandala is unique, like us. It's unique. If every mandala you create is unique, there's no same kind of design, or the process is different as well, because it depends what time of day you might be creating it. You might have different feelings that are coming out, or different thoughts. You may set an intention around it and think to yourself, I want to invite more of this into my day, or I want to invite more nature into my day. So that will dictate the kind of mandala that you're creating as well. So it's it's different. Every mandala is different, so they're all changing as well and evolving as you're going through, because if you're not going back again about the creative process, if you're not thinking about this is what it's going to look like, you're opening yourself up to the possibility of a design kind of emerging, or a mandala emerging in front of you that you'd not even thought would exist. And it's you that's created that, and everyone's capable of creating a beautiful design as well. I think that's what's amazing too, because there's a lot of people that think they're not able to create mandalas or create artwork, or they're not creative, and actually mandalas are a great way to start, because they're very straightforward to create once you know the steps to make them.
Yeah, I really love it. So let's talk about your own creative practice and what you've been doing there, because you're an artist.
Yes, yeah. Mixed media artist, which I sometimes get tongue-tied about.
Yeah, I can't say that at all.
So mixed media just really means that, again, I'm constantly changing. So, I love to create artworks that are, using lots of different mediums. So I love watercolour, acrylic, collage. I've dabbled in wax and ceramics and all sorts of different materials, and I love to combine them all. And that's essentially what a mixed media artist is. And at the moment, I'm really loving watercolour. I have to say, it's kind of, and again, I think that's because it's very unpredictable as well. It's really fun to create with. If you're creating it with what I would call a wet on wet technique, because everything kind of evolves and runs, and it's really interesting to see how that kind of emerges, our designs emerge.
Wow. But you weren't always an artist, were you?
No, I was. I did go to art school, actually, when I was 16. I went to art school for a couple of years.
Okay.
After my art teacher told me I wouldn't get into art school. Yeah, so that was a obstacle to get over at the time. But I did go to art school for a couple of years, and then I wasn't creative for a really, really long time. And it was probably about 10 years ago, I started to feel like I really wanted to tap back into my creativity on a more kind of full-time basis. I spend more time doing what I love, really, just making more time for it. And I think that's, I was working in New York in a corporate job, I like to say in a windowless office, but it was a windowless office. And
no nature.
It was awful. Yeah, no sunlight. So I really suffered a lot from not having the sunlight. So I would go out at lunchtime, but that really affected me. And so I started being creative again. And I think after a few years, I started to believe, that I could actually leave that corporate job and start my own creative business. And I think it was 2010, I took the leap.
Wow.
I took the leap and I did that. And I've done lots and lots of different things since then. I've tried so many different things out. And, I do a lot of different things now as well. So I'm an artist, but I also work with other creative people as well, helping them with their businesses and doing a bit of website design. And I run my own online courses. I'm an author as well. So it's, there's lots of juggling going on. But I think go back to a creative practice. I think, no matter what you're doing in your life, I think it's really important to spend time every day doing something that you love. And if that's something creative, it's just working out, how much time would you like to spend? And you can spend 10 minutes being creative if you'd like. I go down the beach in the morning. I go down for 20 minutes normally. And sometimes I'll take my journal and I might write a poem, or I might draw a mandala. But I really believe in taking that time to start the day off that way. It's really important, and finding time in your day to be creative.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point, because it's easy to think that, well, we're creating, or we've created the life that we want. And then suddenly we find, wait a minute, I'm doing too much admin, or too much, of the work that actually has to be done, but it's not that thing, that it doesn't connect into the truth of our creative self that needs to be expressed. And then it's hard to think, oh no, I've got to find time for it. I'm very, very impressed that you find time.
It's difficult. It's a challenge, I have to admit. And some days I do struggle with it some days, because I feel like I've got this project to work on for a client, or I've got some admin work that I need to do, or clean the house.
Oh no.
Still exist. Go shopping, those kind of things. So yeah, it can be a challenge, and sometimes it might just be that time I spend on the beach, and I just draw like a little mandala, and to me, I've done that. I've done something that's fueled me, I guess. That's kind of fueled that part of me that makes me happy.
Yeah. It seems to me that there's this a distinction that is really relevant, which is about that making the space to connect to that creative essence is about connecting to the realm of the sacred, whatever that is. And we need that, otherwise life is too mundane. And we use that word, we use that often without real awareness of what it means, that it means life without the sacred, and yet I think that that's really one of the things that's going on here. And the fact that you also connect with nature, and that's part of you tapping into your creative essence, it's like an acknowledgement that the sacred is also encompassing that creative force of nature as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I think it's like just feeling like I did like a life coaching course when I was in New York a few years ago, and it was tapping into different energies and different energy levels. Mm-hmm. And it did, when you went through that highest energy was the same zone that we feel that when we're creative or when we're in gratitude.
Oh,
it's kind of like it was like one of the highest energies. So, and it is amazing when you think about it. When you are in that creative space, you don't know what time it is. You're not even thinking about it. You're just in this amazing zone. And I think,
yes,
and I don't think it's just about painting and drawing. It's it's music. It's how musicians feel. It's how poets feel, writers feel. When you find yourself in that space, mm-hmm. You kind of, I don't know, you feel elevated. I guess I can't think of another word. It is like you feel elevated, and what it's doing is actually pumping good energy around your body at the same time, because there is a chemical reaction between our thoughts and our feelings and what's happening with our body too. So that's part of a really important part of the healing process as well. And that's something that really helped me on my journey, was understanding that how thoughts and feelings can affect us. So I make sure I choose good thoughts every day.
Well, that brings me to...
I do. I'm good, yeah.
That brings me to the question that I'd love to ask you about, what one thing would you recommend to people who are starting businesses, have businesses, want to grow them, that encompass creativity and healing in any form? From your own experience, what would you suggest?
I think absolutely just trusting that you're on the right path, that you've chosen to do this work, and you're here to do this work. So it is trusting that process. And I like to say, listen to the universe as well. So, a lot of the decisions I've made throughout my life as well, I have listened to my intuition or the universe, whatever it is you believe in. I think it's you know, being open, always being open to seeing what, you know, seeing what opportunities could be presented to you as well. So it's great to have, I think it's really important to have clear goals and a clear idea of where you're going in the world and what it is you want to do and why. But also being open as well. I've had a few interesting kind of curveballs kind of thing where I've been really focused about something I want, and then something else has come along, and I've thought about it and thought, actually, hang on a minute, this is the right path to take.
Yeah.
And the vehicle, you know, this is where I'm meant to be, and this was the vehicle to enable me to get to that decision.
Yeah.
Yes, I think absolutely trust the process, follow your heart, be open to new opportunities, and I think it is really important to take time to meet and speak and collaborate with other people as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And you have a free gift to share with people. So could you just briefly tell us what that is?
Of course. So I have a free Mandala online class that is 5 or 6 or 7 videos, I think there are. So if you're new to mandala making, it's a great place to start, because I take you through the process of just getting started with doodling and drawing a grid and colouring in and everything. And if you've already been drawing mandalas, then hopefully there's a few things in there that can inspire you to continue your practice and try something new as well with the mandala making.
Fantastic. And the link to that is on this page, so you can go there right now and join up for it. Louise, thank you so much for coming and talking about what you do on the beach and your practice, your creative practice, and your insights, because it's all been really inspiring. I hope that lots of people are now packing off to go down the beach.
Or they're booking the holidays.
Yeah. I would be. I'll have to find a place here. So yes, thank you so much for coming and talking about it.
My pleasure. And we didn't talk about it, but if people are interested in learning more about combining, you know, nature with mandala making, I have a new book coming out called Botanical Mandalas. So that's coming out. So so look out for that if that's of interest to people as well.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again so much, Louise. And everybody, thank you for joining us today. I hope you're feeling super inspired. I'm Alison Palmer, and this is the Creative Healers interview series. Bye.